I'm Matt Bamber. After university, I became a chartered accountant. I'm a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales. Around about 2004, I made a transition into higher education. Did my PhD at the University of Exeter. And then I spent about a decade at the University of Bristol before moving to Canada. 2016, joined Rotman at University of Toronto, and now I'm at Schulich at York University, and it's been a fabulous journey so far. My research, I mean, broadly speaking, I'd like to work out why people do the things they do, but of course the topic is way too broad, so we have to narrow down. And in probably the last, 10 years, maybe more, I've been looking at Q&A sessions, in terms of conference calls. I'm asking questions such as, why do analysts ask the questions they do? Why don't they ask other questions? Why do managers respond the way they do? Why don't they respond to certain questions? And that's really been a big part of my research endeavor for the last, as I say, decade. I also spend significant time looking at marginalized, stigmatized, and overlooked groups of workers, which, I'm hoping is making the world a better place, but time will tell.
My name is Matthias de Katen, and I'm a management, accounting, and control researcher at Concordia University in Canada. And I did my doctoral studies at the EBS Business School in Germany, and then joined Concordia. And since my undergraduate studies, I became captivated into qualitative methods. And since then, ever continued using qualitative research methods. And my research focus is really on understanding accounting as practice. And I'm particularly interested in the practice of risk management, management accounting, and control in some unique settings, for example, inter-organizational relationships, collaborations, but also family firms. A few years back, Matt and I, we had the idea to review all management accounting ethnographies. And so we read them, and we didn't want to read them in terms of the content, in terms of the research domain, but rather from a methodological perspective. So we studied all management accounting ethnographies that were published. And now, in hindsight, we can call this kind of the phase one of our research endeavor. And then, because at the end of this literature, we thought, well, it would be nice to actually speak with our colleagues, reach out to the community. So this is kind of phase two of this endeavor, that we reached out to colleagues and asked for an interview. And then we spoke about the opportunities and the challenges of conducting ethnographies in accounting. And so to speak, this special issues in a way, a great way, a third phase of this overall research endeavor to promote and disseminate ethnographies in accounting. And I think, Matt, if I hand over to you now, to give a bit more, what is our motivation to having this special issue?
Yeah, thanks, Matthias. I think you've summed that up very nicely. I'm involved. The short answer there is because Matthias asked me whether I would. And of course, I'm delighted. I am really grateful to the editors, Lucas and Thomas, for giving us the opportunity to run this special issue. I'm really grateful to QRAM, which is, a top tier accounting journal, accounting and management journal, who are willing to engage in this project with us. I think ethnography is time and resource intensive in an academic world where time and resource is scarce. And the fear, I think, amongst those of us who engage in field work methodologies is that if this type of work were to disappear, which, with institutional managerial pressures, I mean, it won't disappear, but it might fade away slightly. If this were to disappear, we would risk overlooking the dynamism of accounting, the changes that happen in practice. We would risk overlooking fundamental research questions. And this has been said before. I'm not the first person to say it, and I won't be the last. And what we want to do is bring some of this amazing ethnographic research, which is out there. We know it's happening. We've done a review. We've spoken. We want to bring some of this amazing ethnographic research together in one place. Maybe it's part of a community building strategy. I mean, that's kind of an objective that personally I think Mateusz and I have. We want to show the quality of this work. We want to, demonstrate this work is rigorous. This work is useful. This work opens doors. This work contributes to the accounting agenda, and hopefully, in that, garner support for it, garner credibility. And so, those are like my broad ideas about this special issue. I also want to say, and Mateusz and I have talked about this a lot. I also want to say that, of course, this is, and one of the reasons we came together, thinking about this special issue, this has been a really difficult time for ethnographers. Doors have been closed. And we want to know how people are adapting to this new normal, how we're going to adapt to what will be the future and whatever that might be. So as much as these are difficult times, these are also exciting times. These are also innovative times, creative times. And Mateusz and I want to tap into that. And hopefully this special issue gives us that window and opens the window for other people to see how we're coping with these externalities.
We welcome everyone who is conducting ethnographic studies in accounting, and also who is reflecting more methodological wise on employing ethnographies in the context of accounting. And that's why in the call for papers, we call for two types of studies. The first one we label as ethnography in use, and the second one using ethnography in accounting. So the first one, it's really about show us what can we tell using ethnographies in accounting. And here we don't want to really tell any particular themes, because we know ethnographies take time, as Matt was referring to. So the work is going on. So we are curious to read what you're working on currently, the ethnographies that you conducted, and just keep the readership of Curo in mind. And I think it would be wonderful to have your ethnography in action on accounting. And then in the second theme, using ethnography in accounting, for us, it's more a question of methodological reflection tailored to the context of accounting. So, and here we actually suggest a few themes that you can see in the call for papers. But of course, these are again more food for thought, and you are welcome to add your specific flavor to it, what you find are relevant questions that we should discuss in accounting when it comes to ethnographies.
I think that's a really neat summary of the very broad topics that we're looking for. Ethnographies are almost always idiosyncratic to the author's environment, the author's context. We aren't trying to, we're trying to be all inclusive. Come in, join the family. And to that degree, I think, if somebody is working on a project, they think it might be, or they come to an end of a project, or they're midway through a project, and they're thinking about putting their paper into this special issue, about submitting their paper to us, contact Mateusz and I. Our doors are, or our email inboxes are open. We're very happy to discuss, our own hopes and expectations from this special issue. So our email addresses, I'm sure, are very widely available, and they're in the call for papers. We welcome conversations on the topic. So yeah, look forward to it. And thank you again. Thank you again to the editors and to anyone out there who is submitting to this special issue or thinking about it. And good luck, everybody, with these ethnographies. As I say, times are hard, and, and these, we both feel quite passionately that this is, something which, we want to see, really flourish despite the managerial pressures which are upon us.